Hi everyone, welcome. I have an issue with my voice, so I hope you can understand me, okay? So Geost botnet discovery of a new Android banking trojan from an OpSec error. Welcome everyone.
All right, so let me introduce who we are. My name is Anna Shirokova. I work at Avast as a security researcher, and I'm also collaborator at the Aposimat project, which is a joint project between Avast and CTU, Czech Technical University.
So I'm Sebastian Garcia. I'm the director of the Stratosphere laboratory in the Czech Technical University in Prague. Maria Jose Erquiaga is also our co-author. She is now in Argentina. She cannot attend, right? So, yeah. And
yeah, we will do the best to tell our story today with Sebastian.
So, the discovery, what's happening here? So, Geost is a new botnet that we found while we were infecting another malware, the HtBot malware. Does anybody know HtBot malware? No? HtBot people? So, HtBot is a proxy malware. When you get infected, your computer is part of a proxy, like illegal proxy network. So the people gets paid, and then you access the proxy network, and then you go to the internet, okay? This is the model of HtBot. However, while looking at this, we found, oh, there you go. We found some traffic of some users using HtBot that look very weird. So we were hoping to catch attackers using HtBot, and suddenly we found some command and control operators using HtBot to go to the internet and continue attacking, okay? So we were looking at the traffic, and this is what we found, right? We found this weird pattern of /use, and that ended to be an unencrypted, look at here, visa, right? You can see that there is something going on, and this is Unicode. You can also tell because of the /u, and it's Russian language, and at the end, it was a list of SMS from a victim. So this is the SMS we found. You can take a look and say, oh, withdrawal of funds, black box, rubles, 120, password, 32 something something. Do not disclose the password to anyone, right? Only fraudsters requires passwords. So it's like, whoa, what's going on in here? So we start looking, and we found a lot of information coming from the victims to the command and control operators, right? And then we saw in real life how the command and control bot masters logged in inside the command and control web panel using the HtBot proxy. So they believed they were super secure, super anonymous, super hacker, and we saw how they were getting inside this web page, and they were requesting the information, right? So you can see here the real man in the middle of the domain using the real password of the command and control, and you can see how they were getting a web page. Very important here, we only access the traffic of the malware getting through our connection. We never get inside any command and control web page, okay? All those images are reconstructed from the network traffic, okay? So when we found this, we say, we need to dig deeper. What's going on in here? So we start working in the infrastructure. For the first time, we realized there was no name for this. So, there was no name for this. So we put the name Geost, and we start saying that there were 14 command and control IP addresses around the world, including IPs in US, Mauritania. What's going on in Mauritania? We have no idea. They have all the infrastructure there in Mauritania, and then Russia, right? Each domain up to 100 domains, 150 unique domains in total, and roughly 150 APKs. So we start finding what's going on and who is attacking here, right? The command and control panel, it's showing in Russian here. I'm not sure if anybody can speak Russian. We will translate her. Yeah, luckily. So you can see the ID of each of the victims. You can see the email of each of the victims. You can see the rights. The third column is the rights on the phone. And then you have the version of Android, the operator, the phone operator, including the phone number, the country, and then you have bank accounts balances, so they can access the exact amount of money that they have in their bank accounts. And then there is a lot of stuff that we don't know exactly what it's used for. For example, in here, you can pick 5 banks to inject into the APK, so they can control, maybe communicate with 5 different banks in Europe. And you can see that there is a category balance and the flow. The flow, it's an indicator of which attacker got that phone, okay? How did you get infected? This is the purpose of the flow. By looking at the code of the application, you can see more details about the banks, and it was very important that they were not targeting 50 banks or 100 banks. They were only targeting 5 banks, including Kiwi, that is not really a bank, it's an online payment system, okay? So then we start having a better picture of the purpose of what Geost botnet is doing. In particular, we found a lot of randomness, and this proved to be very good for them, very good. They have domains that look like DJ, but they are not. They have these PHP files that look completely random. They have the TLS certificates in there, the common names, also completely random. And they have all the activities inside the APK completely random. This proved to be very good security measure to avoid finding new APKs. If you remember the 2 talks ago, the checkpoint people was talking about how they use the certificate to find new ones. In this case, this was not possible, okay? You have to dig deeper for this. So when we found all the APKs, we saw that actually most antiviruses are already detecting them. Most of them are being detected. Most of them are actually known to be bunkers. So what's going on in here? Why we have no super complex exploit? Why you don't have something that is very impossible to detect? Does anybody know why? Why they are not having a super duper, very difficult to get malware? Why every time you upload an APK, you can detect it very easily? No? So the answer is they don't care. They don't care, right? They continue working like this, and they are operating very, very, very well, even if everyone is detecting, right? There is no impact in their operation so far. So some of the games and bad players that they're using, applications like Photo, installing, and they're asking SMS, MMS, phones, contacts, control the system, alert window, external storage, and of course, internet, okay? Are they using any exploit? No, they are not. Exactly as in the checkpoint talk, they are using the fact that most of the victims that do not have a clear access to Google Play, for example, so it's very common to download application from web pages. This is the key to infection, right? This is why this is working. It's not even social engineering so much. It's just, hey, I need a game. I don't want to pay. I will download this one, okay? And it works. It works big. So victims, we compute an estimation of 800,000 victims. This is a huge amount of victims. Only for you to compare, Mirai started like 2 years ago with 800,000. Now it's much bigger. The biggest botnets that we know so far are roughly 1 million. So we had roughly 1 million victims in Russia being attacked, and nobody knew for a long time, right? So why this happened? Why we're missing this? You can see these are examples of SMS taken from the phones. They are very much into private information, including all your SMS text, all your contacts, all your balances, every withdrawal, every purchase you are doing. They know everything that is going through your phone. And then
we have sort of a very unique situation. Thanks to Veronica Valeros, she found the chat log basically available online. This was very interesting because that was a clear indication of relation to Geost of the attackers the one from that chat. So the chat log was all in Russian. It was for almost a year long. It has 28 people involved in the conversations, but I need to say that not all of them are related to Geost. When we started to look at that, we thought that that's like a big group, but then we realized that only one person is chatting with 28 others, and only two of them are related to Geost. And I'm going to tell you how and why. So meet our two people who involved to Geost. It's PowerFire and Murex. This is the identities that they used, their nicknames. We believe that PowerFire is the one who is knowing the people with money and the one who know the Geost people and keep referring to them in the chat as they. And Murex is his partner, so they work together very closely. This is the typical conversation which is happening between them. So they frequently exchange links and URLs to Geost botnet panel. They are always talking about, hey, reinstall the file, the Kaspersky get cleaned, so they just re-encrypt and then install it again, and all kind of this stuff. They also discuss, they have like more common problems, like they have depressed programmers, for example. They keep encouraging them to push and not keep just a local copy and keep updates, and one of them was like super unmotivated, so they had to just keep telling him, hey, let's finish the job and all these kind of things. So we realized that they just basically humans. And they kind of perceive this as work, like daily job. So we were thinking, okay, so maybe there is a clear pattern when they're chatting with each other. And as you can see from this graph, that they mostly engage in conversations at the evening, which we assume maybe that's because this is the convenient time between for both of them. Like they might be in different time zones or maybe in different countries, we don't know precisely. Or maybe they have a regular job and evenings are the best for them because they are not working, so they can just do the side projects. So the difficulties for me, even as a native Russian speaker, was to understand what's going on and what they are talking about and writing about. And that was a challenge. First of all, they use a lot of slang. They also misspelling a lot, and they use transliteration when they are saying, for example, English word and typing it in Cyrillic. I'll give you an example. So here, they are talking about some financial operation, and they say, hey, do they want belka, which is squirrel, translating as a squirrel in English. And I'm like, wait a second. Okay, I need to Google that. And then I found out that this actually referring to the white accounting. The other example would be, for example, telega, which means cart. And they are talking, hey, you can contact me on telega. And I was like, what is that? And it's apparently a telegram. And there are also lots of shortcuts like TP, which refers to customer service, or SSH, just written in Russian in Cyrillic. So that was a little bit of challenging for me to understand. So they are talking a lot about the payments, and as I mentioned before, PowerFire is kind of like the main guy. So he knows people with money, and he also paying to his partner. And interesting thing is they're using WebMoney and Kiwi to exchange like transactions, which is not very wise because it could be trackable, but we don't know. They just probably don't care that much.
And they avoid other systems like Yandex Pay. We are not sure if maybe because in the countries they were working, they couldn't access these other systems, so they have some constraints in which systems to use, right?
Right, and also they always talking about exchange. So we believe that they receive money not in the rubles. They have a different currency, and then they have to exchange, and then basically to make a transaction to pay the payment. So they have a very various business models, like each of them. The Geost is only one part of that, and we believe that they engage in traffic redirections, that they build specific websites which are then easy searchable in the search engines. So they're basically using black SEO, like search engine optimizations. And so they lure users specifically for the keywords to their websites, and then they sell traffic or redirect users to whatever they want, basically. They have access to the credit card information. They engaging in spam. They have collecting lots of personal data from the users.
In particular, we found that some of the APKs were trying to get into Google Wallet accounts. So they are very much having a diversity of services to gain money. And each of them is a small amount of the money they get. Like they ask you for your account and your card number and all the information in there, and please put valid information in there, of course. And they get this information. We are not sure how, but this is translating to money. Maybe they are selling it, maybe they are using it, maybe they are feeding it again into the system, right?
So this is the typical affiliation marketing representation, and we believe that this is one of the, let's say, stream of revenue for them. So they having these sites which are particularly designed to lure users to download cracked games or watch cracked videos online or etc. And so they have a partnerka, and I must say this is the affiliation marketing, and the legal it could be legal. It doesn't mean in per se that this is malicious, but it could be used by anyone, and some of them based in Russia are not very trustworthy. So basically they have their own customers. The customers are coming to the affiliation marketing and ask them, hey, we need users to download our stuff, our malware, our applications, whatever. And so partnerka basically find people like our guys and who provide them traffic and users. And
so part of the system is installing and configuring those web pages. They're registering domains all the time, putting web pages all the time, and redirecting users all the time, right?
Yeah. So the obvious question is how much money they're making from it. From the conversation and from discussion that they said, and they mentioned the price of the one installation, and the price of one installation is 20 rubles, which is roughly 0.3 USD. This is, like, to give you an estimate, it's for 250 installation, you will get like 5,000, which is roughly $77, and for 1,000 of installations, you will get like 20,000.
So each installation is one user getting into the system, right? So this is a small amount, but they have a lot of users per day moving here. So actually the money is very good, right?
So this is the common process. So like the workflow of those two guys. So PowerFire is always asking Murex to, hey, can you please install the file? And he telling the name of the file, and Murex is installing it, but we don't know, but there is no downloading happening on the background, so we don't know what's happening. So apparently they might know the place where they keep these files that they have both access to. Maybe this is a Google Drive or some other storage, we don't know. And then we usually get, after the Murex reports, yes, I will install, then he reports back, yes, the installation is happened, everything is fine. And then in a few minutes, you can see that the statistics in Geost appeared and is always passed in the chat.
We estimate that they are uploading a new APK every 2 days, roughly, 2-3 days, right? So they know that different antiviruses are detecting them. So the amount of people is decreasing in time. So they are renewing the APKs, renewing the domains, renewing the web pages, and it's going up again, right?
Right. So as you can see, there is lots of mistake in here, and thanks to those, we are here today, and we were able to identify them.
Do you pinpoint some of the OpSec errors? Did anybody say, oh, that was actually very bad? No? Yeah, right? No encryption. Very nice. Yeah, what? Yeah, exactly, right? So using HtBot was a mistake. Why not using another network? They believe that HtBot was super underground, anonymous, whatever. Well, it's not, right?
Yeah, as someone said already, no encryption. The whole communication was in HTTP in clear text, passing back and forth passwords, not deleting cookies, logging with the same cookies all the time, so clearly.
So in several moments, they hire developers for making the web pages, and those developers leaked a lot of information. We are not sure if the developers knew what they were doing. They were doing just web pages that they look very nice. So they were leaking information all over the internet about what they were doing, how they were doing it, and stuff like that. That was a very bad mistake.
There also the chat log. We don't know how that was leaked, but it's clearly that trusting some people to develop the stuff for you, and then, all communication is there, so some of us can just, read it and track it.
If anyone here is the one that leaked the chat log, you can tell us, okay? We would love to meet you.
Yes, they use no encryption, obviously, in the chat, so they didn't use any, for example, like Signal or like anything. They used Skype, so here you go. And the also interesting thing is that they used the same nickname, let's say, everywhere, all over the internet. They register on forums with the same nickname. They use the same nickname in the chat log and their Telegram accounts and etc.
And also in the chat logs, sometimes you can see their real names, because in Skype, when you quote somebody, then Skype is putting the real username. So they're using these weird nicknames, and then you see some name traveling as, whoa, what's going on here, right? So that was very bad for them also.
Right, and so some conclusions in here. Well, as you can see, OpSec is very hard to maintain, and not only for those attackers, but even for APTs and anyone actually, and big companies as well. So,
and a very small mistake, like using HtBot, allow us to access the majority of the operation. That was the impact of one mistake. And then it just escalated very quickly, right? Small mistakes give us a lot of information.
Right. Chart log is a very unique opportunity for us to study the inside of the operation and the underground organization, basically, how they work, how they operate, what the challenges, what they do, who they are, for how long, and etc. This is a unique opportunity, basically, for us to look at the insights and how that works and what they do and what they're talking about.
And finally, where are we going with this? Sorry. There are several ways to go. We are going to go more into the social analysis because, as Anna said, the chat log really gives us insight in the everyday operation, how is for them to work doing this, the motivational issues. Several times they were saying, hey, I want out, this is too much for me. And the other guys were, no, there is really good money, we should keep it, right? And the guy's like, no, I'm out. And then 3 days later, he's coming back saying, hey, I need the money, right? So there is a lot of stuff going on around what we don't see of the other side of the attacks.
Right, and we want to continue, of course, obviously work on the APKs and see what we can find and break up the obfuscation and see what's going on there. And
so
thank you.
Thank you very much for
and if
staying.
you have any questions, please.